How many animals in the world have eyelashes? A. 20 species, B. all mammals, or C. 1. just humans? Keep listening to Formosa Fauna to find out. Spend the next 20 minutes feeding your brain with Formosa Fauna so you can learn all about the animal kingdom and become smarter than all of your friends. What better way to spend your commute or downtime? Every Friday is Formosa Fauna Friday. I'm Tristan Hildebrand, the voice of Formosa Fauna. I love animals and I love talking about them. If you're even remotely curious about the animal kingdom, you're in the right place. In today's episode, we're going to talk about how many animals have eyelashes and why, as well as whether or not there are truly alpha wolves and dogs. But before we get into that, we have a couple of exciting animal sightings here in Taiwan. So let's dive right in. A Formosan black bear has recently been spotted along Hualien's Qingshui Creek bed. A farmer recorded a video of the bear and reported the sighting to the Forestry and Nature Conservation Agency. The bear was focused on searching for food and, without being spooked or provoked, left the area on its own. The agency issued a public statement encouraging the public to report such sightings as it assists greatly with conservation efforts. The Taiwan Black Bear Conservation Association has established a reporting platform to gather sightings and other relevant information. This allows them to improve their understanding of human-bear interactions through collective efforts and better monitor bears' movements. The Forestry and Nature Conservation Agency's Hualien branch technical specialist Zhu Hezong explained that Formosan black bears don't hibernate during the winter in tropical regions like Taiwan, unlike other colder climates, unless they're pregnant females. Tracking data for these bears shows that in the winter months, they typically limit their activity to a smaller range and stay at mid-elevation areas that have an abundance of plants like ring-cupped oak. The agency said it would send personnel to help guide the implementation of safety measures and provide bear deterrence should a bear approach a settlement. Unfortunately, the Formosan black bear population has not shown significant recovery since it was classified as an endangered species in 1989 under the Wildlife Conservation Act. The biggest threats to this species in Taiwan are human-induced, including illegal hunting, habitat loss, road development, and recreational disturbances, according to the Commonwealth magazine. Organizations have the goal to clarify bear activity, offer safety advice, and reduce potential conflicts through real-time reporting. Encounters that occur between humans and Formosan black bears are rare. We also have another rare animal sighting in Taiwan. A rare crab-eating mongoose, a Category 3 conservation species, was spotted in Alishan Township's Shanmei village during a routine environmental patrol just last week. The pink-nosed mongoose with the white stripe extending from its cheeks to its shoulders was pictured in a press release issued by the Forestry and Nature Conservation Agency's Jiayi branch. These crab-eating mongoose feed on crustaceans, fish, shrimps, snails, and insects. They play a vital role in the environment by helping to control populations of invertebrates and small mammals, maintaining balance in the food chain. The mongoose's habitat has largely been taken over by human developments. Again, run-ins with this species is now rare, but should you encounter one, you're advised to adhere to the principles of no contact, no interference, and no feeding. In a previous episode, I believe episode 24, we talked a little bit about why people have eyelashes. Here is a recap for you. David Hu and his colleagues at Georgia Institute of Technology in Atlanta set out to answer the question of why people have eyelashes. they measured the eyelashes of 22 different mammals and found that the length of eyelashes is roughly 1/3 the width of the mammalian eye. They built a wind tunnel that could blow air past a cup of water with eyelashes on its rim. Having eyelashes that were 1/3 of the eye's width reduced evaporation of the cup's water by a factor of 2. So essentially, eyelashes help keep the eyes moist by reducing the airflow. Shorter lashes may fail at properly blocking the air, and longer eyelashes might actually direct more airflow to the eye. Before this episode started, I asked you the question, how many animals in the world have eyelashes? The choices were A, 20 different species, B, all mammals, or C, 1, just humans. If you guessed B, all mammals, you were correct. I think we should be cautious when we say all of anything, especially when it applies to science and the global scale. And we are talking about mammals, all mammals ever created here, but in general, that is the answer you'll get from any scientist, that virtually all mammals have eyelashes. To put it into perspective, there are over 5,400 extant species of mammals according to the National Wildlife Federation. I grew up in Nebraska and was fortunate enough to volunteer with some horses and ponies when I was in middle school and up until college. Something that struck me about horses and ponies was that they had really long, lush eyelashes. Perhaps an animal, maybe a horse, came to mind for you when you were thinking about how many animals have eyelashes, or maybe your cats or dogs. During the annual meeting at the Society for Integrative and Comparative Biology, scientists from the Georgia Institute of Technology presented their findings from a study on lash length that I mentioned above with David Hu and his colleagues. And in that study, they examined the eyes of 22 mammals, from hedgehogs, the smallest animal studied, to giraffes, which were the largest studied. And again, in this study, they found that no matter what their size, the eyelash length was about 1/3 the width of the animal's eye. This proportion, they found, was the optimal one for retaining moisture and keeping the corneas clean. That's something that I didn't mention above. When they tested the measurements on artificial eyes that were sporting synthetic lashes and exposed them to a small wind tunnel, not only did the lashes reduce moisture evaporation, they also reduced particle deposition by half. Take camels, for example. Their long eyelashes help protect their eyes from harsh sun rays and sandstorms. Their nostrils are closed, so sand can't enter either, and their lips are thick, which lets them eat some cacti. Essentially, every feature on an animal is purposeful. Some birds even have modified feathers that are positioned like and act like eyelashes because eyelashes serve such a significant purpose. Scientists are saying studies like the one with the eyelashes can help create effective dust control mechanisms for optical sensors. Did you know that over 17,000 species thrive in the deep sea where there is no light that penetrates the ocean waves? Or that an old restaurant menu can teach us about the history of fish populations? Or that there are 38,000 different kinds of microbes in a liter of seawater? Just a liter. These were all discoveries made by the Census of Marine Life, a 10-year international effort that assessed the diversity, distribution, and abundance of marine life. Today, meet the flapper skate, a species of cartilaginous fish, a ray belonging to the shark family. The big word in that last sentence, cartilaginous, you may realize sounds a little like cartilage, and that's because they have a skeleton formed of cartilage instead of bones. Imagine a ray, I guess a stingray we might be more familiar with, so a diamond-shaped creature, flat, brownish gray in color, but very large. Very large. These are the largest of all European skates and rays, the largest skates in the Atlantic Ocean, because they can reach up to 2.5 meters from nose to tail, which is about 8 feet. An adult can weigh around 50 kilograms, or about 110 pounds. And that's more of an average. A pregnant flapper skate once got accidentally caught by fishermen and laid her egg on deck before they had a chance to let her go. That egg ended up hatching 535 days later. These flapper skates were once known as common skates, but scientists later identified two separate species, the flapper and blue skates. People have known about Atlantic and North Sea skates for hundreds of years. In the 16th century, a trade took place across Europe. Sailors made objects from dead skates and sold them as dragons, devils, mermaids, or even angels. Grotesquely, some would fashion the skate's nostrils and mouth into a Jenny Hanover's face. The name apparently stems from the French jeune fille d'Anvers, young girl of Antwerp, suggesting they had a Belgian origin. Nowadays, people don't buy or sell such products anymore and are more likely to collect empty skate egg cases that wash up on beaches. Hunting down these egg cases has become an important way for citizen scientists to help track populations of flappers and other skates and egg-laying sharks. Flapper skates take over 10 years to reach sexual maturity, and they produce low numbers of offspring, making populations slow to recover from any impacts. They can live, however, for anywhere between 50 and 100 years. In the last episode, we dispelled the first of the three biggest myths when it comes to dog misbehavior, that dogs are spiteful. Dogs may not be spiteful, but can they misbehave because they are trying to be dominant? That's the question we're trying to get to the bottom of today. Welcome to this new segment teaching listeners just like you how to train dogs. Starting with the basics, tune in each episode and you'll eventually be able to do just about anything as far as training goes. I don't currently live with any dogs, but find the knowledge widely applicable as I grew up with dogs. I hear of people in my circle who are struggling to train their dogs and run into stray dogs on my way home in Taiwan nearly every day. So if you're like me and don't currently have a way to apply these methods, there's no telling when exactly this information and this knowledge might come in handy. Dominance means different things to different people, which can make it tricky when it comes to dog training. Even the alpha theory with wolves was largely dispelled, despite it being hastily accepted by much of the dog training community. Well, that could probably be an episode all on its own. Essentially, what happened was the theory that there was a leading and dictatorial alpha at the top of each wolf pack who was led by significant force and fought for his status was based on an artificial situation, one where the wolves were forced in confinement and had no choice but to fight for resources. This is now believed to not reflect how wolves in the wild act, the wolves from which dogs descended. Instead, it's been studied and researchers say that packs of wolves are actually quite similar to human family structures, where those leading the packs were merely parents of offspring. Author of a 1970 wolf book that heavily featured the theory, a wolf expert, L. David Meck, eventually refuted the alpha theory himself, even asking the publisher to stop printing the book. So hopefully those people who think it's ingrained in the dog brain to have a dominant desire to take over and make others subservient to them will realize that there's just no evidence to support that. It's also important to note that dogs are not wolves at all. The modern dog has very little in common with ancient wolves and instead has a long, multi-thousand-year history of working very closely and well with humans to hunt, keep livestock herded, and provide companionship. Behaviors can be explained in ways that don't turn your dog into a dominating creature. They typically don't have any ulterior motives and rather tend to live in the moment. So if your dog jumps on you, they're probably excited to see you. If they pass through a door, squeeze through a door before you, they're probably just excited to get outside. And if they lay on your bed or couch next to you, they don't think that they're equal to or above you in a family hierarchy. They probably just want to be close to you. This is all according to Zach George's Guide to a Well-Behaved Dog. there you have it. 2 of the 3 myths have been expelled. Dogs are not spiteful and don't misbehave because they wish to dominate you. But how much of a role does a dog's breed play? Tune into this segment next week to find out. About 0.5% of children and 3% of adults have actual sting allergies from bees, wasps, and ants, but each person varies in reaction. In this segment of the show today, we're going to learn how to react to a bee sting for regular folk with no allergies. This is according to the Cleveland Clinic. Bees aren't typically aggressive insects, but can sting when they feel threatened. Only female bees can sting, although many different types of bees can sting you. The most common are bumblebees, honeybees, and carpenter bees. Honeybees die after stinging because their stinger gets stuck in your skin and they're unable to disconnect it from the rest of their body. As the bee's abdomen and stinger pull away from the rest of their body, they die. But not all bees will die after stinging, and in some instances, bees can sting you more than once when they feel threatened. The American Academy of Dermatology Association says, first and foremost, you're advised to stay calm in a bee attack or after being stung. Calmly remove yourself from the area to avoid additional attacks. Step 2 is to remove the stinger. Remove it by scraping over it with your fingernail, a credit card, or a piece of gauze. But never use tweezers to remove a stinger because squeezing it can cause more venom to be released into the skin. Step 3, wash the sting with soap and water. Step 4, apply a cold pack to reduce swelling. If swelling moves to other parts of your body, such as your face or neck, seek immediate medical attention as this could indicate an allergic reaction. Other signs of an allergic reaction include difficulty breathing, nausea, hives, or dizziness. Step 5. Consider taking over-the-counter pain medication if the sting remains painful. Be advised that this segment does not offer medical advice and suggestions don't take place of medical treatment. Please refer to what's said and seek professional medical help should a situation arise. Four police pups are heading into retirement this week in Taiwan. They officially retired on Christmas Eve. RTI reporter Phil has already reported on this story, and the video is up on RTI's English YouTube channel, which is why I didn't put this current event towards the beginning of the episode, where I may have wanted to put it to begin with, but it is still newsworthy enough that I wanted to bring it up again, just in case you missed it. The Taichung K9 unit is transitioning the dogs into retirement after nearly 7 years of their service. They've contributed to drug detection, explosive detection, and security for major events like the U23 Baseball World Cup and elections. 2 canine handlers have signed up to adopt the dogs, one with a spacious property and the other noting that the dogs had brought him luck in his marriage and family life. Regardless of where they end up after the department reviews the nearly 100 applications, the K9 Unit Chief Lin Hengsheng assures the public that they will get excellent retirement homes. The unit sent them away with toys, treats, and joint supplements. Have you ever had a memorable experience with an animal? Whether it's an observation at the zoo, an interaction with a wild animal, or I'm sure the thousands of stories you could share as a pet owner, I want to hear about it. If you're a fan of snail mail, please send me letters via the post, and if you're more digital, please send me an email. That way I can read it on air to share with all of our lovely Formosa Fauna friends. It could be the simplest thing, and as long as it means something to you, it means something to me. If you're sending in a letter, the address can be found online. Just look for the number 55 Bei'an Road address in Taipei, Taiwan. If you're writing an email, send that to Tristan, Tristan, @rti.org.tw. Making it to the end of an episode makes you a Formosa Fauna friend. It's cute, not gross. Thank you for tuning in, friend. All animals require enrichment, just like Formosa Fauna. See you next time for Formosa Fauna Fridays here on Radio Taiwan International.